Hey everybody, Ghostberry TV back in action with another video for you today. Wanted to thank y'all for stopping by. And yeah, so wanted to talk about the upcoming black market jets. Those of you who have followed me for a little while know that I successfully, and guess accidentally, predicted the last black market jet being the fall. And here's the proof from the April Fool's Day post I made. And I decided it might be fun to do another, just a full prediction video of what I think the next 5 black market jets are going to be. Um, I do want to be absolutely clear. I am not operating on any inside knowledge. These predictions are also not necessarily the jets I want to see in the game, though a few of them are. Um, they're more based on what I've seen from the community and paying attention to the community for a couple years now, and what I've seen Starform themselves release and what they prioritize, it seems, and just try to use patterns and use the current meta to make these selections. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a subscribe so you don't miss any of my future Metalstorm content. And let's dive into my top 5 predictions for the next black market jets. Now, before we dive into this top 5, I feel like there's a couple aircraft that need to be addressed that I'm purposefully leaving off of this list. Now, these aircraft are being left off of this list not because I don't think they should be in the game. I think they should, but just because, well, for various reasons. The first aircraft I am going to leave off of the list is the Saab Gripen. Now, the reason why I'm leaving the Gripen off the list, even though it seems like it would be an obvious pick, is exactly that. It's an obvious pick. We already know that the Gripen is fully modeled and flyable in the game. There is proof of this on Starform's official YouTube channel. They have shown us footage of this. So because of that, it would just be too easy for me to say it, right? It would be kind of like cheating. So I'm leaving it off the list, though I do look forward to actually getting to fly that game in Metalstorm, and I assume that it is coming very soon. Next, I am leaving planes that are, how should I phrase this? That are based on existing aircraft in Metalstorm. For example, the F-15 Strike Eagle. We already have the Standard Eagle, and I fully expect to see the Strike Eagle one day, but I'm leaving it out. The F-2 and the F-16XL are both variants of the F-16. I expect to see both of those aircraft in the game one day, but I am not putting them on this list because I don't want variants of existing aircraft. These are for aircraft that we just simply don't have yet to be in the game. Also, I want to encourage everybody watching, drop your picks down below. What planes do you want to see in the next black market, and why? Anyway, let's dive in to this top 5 list for black market predictions. All right, and we're going to start with the one I probably want to see the most, the YF-23 Black Widow. Now, with the addition of the Su-47 Burkett, Starform told the community that experimental planes were now open season for black market offerings. And since Russia got their most famous experimental jet in, I think the US should be next in that department. This plane only lost slightly to the F-22 in the competition at the time to be the US's premier air dominance fighter, and I think it would make a great addition to the game. We haven't gotten a 5th gen fighter in the black market yet, so I think that would be a cool offering to get. I also think it'd be fair stats wise to make this aircraft near identical to both the Raptor and the Felon, in the sense that both those planes are near identical in their stats. This plane could kind of complete the trifecta and make triplets out of them. However, the big difference here would probably be the armament. Instead of 4 medium range and 4 short range heat seekers, I would give it 8 of the same heat seekers that the Rafale currently possesses, but I would give it the no-look off-bore firing capability of the J-20. That would set this plane quite apart quite a bit. Also, I would make it so you could only have 2 of those missiles in the air at a time, so it wouldn't be insanely OP. And I would give it an interesting special ability, known as the Special Jammer, where you target a single aircraft and hit your special ability, and you actually disable an enemy aircraft's special ability for a full 20 seconds, and you would have a 25-second cooldown. Now, this next one might be a little controversial, but I've seen it mentioned a lot in the official Discord, and not just by myself, but by many others. I know it's a fan favorite. We're talking about the F-104 Starfighter. Now, the Starfighter has been a highly requested jet, like I said, so adding it in seems like a natural fit. Also, it seems long overdue, simply because we've gotten multiple types of every other aircraft in the black market, but we've yet to see an interceptor. This would be a great way to rectify that and give those of us who enjoy the interceptors some much needed love. Come on, Starform, make it happen. Personally, I would give the F-104 similar turning and acceleration to the Foxhound, but give it slightly higher top speed, and I mean slightly, since in reality its speed was legendary, but it was not known for good handling. I would also give it external fuel tanks so it could maintain that top speed for longer than some of the other interceptors. However, would balance this out by giving it the same trait as the Farmer that causes damage when you overuse the Afterburner. This would fit in with its real-life counterpart, which had many notable engine issues throughout its usage. I would also only give it 4 long-range missiles, but I would actually make them slightly longer range than any of the others. And I would also make them hit really hard. And a great special ability I've come up with, I'm calling Superior Lock. Long-range missiles ignore chaff and stealth for 30 seconds while you activate this, and it would have a 45-second cooldown. And I think it would make a great addition to hangar level maybe 8 or 9. Now, this next pick I have for you guys might shock you if you know who I am and you know how I feel about attack planes in general in this game. But this next one is an attack plane that I think would make a great fit. That's the A7 Corsair II. Now, in this game, I kind of picture the A7 as handling somewhere between the Jaguar and the F100, being a attack plane that actually has solid speed and decent maneuverability. But once again, for an attack plane, I would give it a fantastic cannon, and I would give it 2 rocket pods and 2 beam riders. So the MiG-19 would still have its beam riders, though I do think those should be reduced from 6 back down to 4, but the A7 would now have 2 alongside 2 small rocket pods, and that would make it a great point-blank murder machine. Now the A7, I'm giving it a special ability I'm calling Gun Blazer. The closer to terrain you are, cools your cannons quicker. So it's kind of like what the JF-17 has, where the closer to terrain you are, you get a speed boost. This would help keep your cannons cool and let you use that cannon more and more and more. I actually think this should be a very early entry into the hangars, like Hangar 5 or lower, to be honest. And I think a lot of people would have a lot of fun with it. And now I'd like to get back to a plane class that you guys all know I really, really enjoy flying. Arguably my favorite plane class in the game, the Heavy Fighters. And I'd like to bring in the F-105 Thunderchief. I think the 105 would make a fine addition to the Heavy Fighter lineup in the game. And really, it adds the opportunity to make something unique. This aircraft could be fitted with 4 heat seekers, but also with rocket pods, with the longer range rockets similar to what the Jaguar used to have. The flight characteristics of this plane, I'm thinking, could be made similar to what the Eagle has, with a focus on speed more than maneuverability, and allow for kind of clear the way from point to point in air sub style plane. and it would probably make a great addition to the lower hangar levels. I'd probably put it in the same hangar as maybe the F4 Phantom. And the special ability I have come up with for this plane is called Rocket Volley. And it kind of adds a shotgun effect to the plane because it would fire all rockets. It would basically, you would hit the special ability button, it would prime it. And then the next time you fired your cannon, all rockets would fire at once, allowing you to just basically instant kill anything that was close in front of you. It would work similar in a way to what the Su-25 has, but I think it would be fascinating to have that ability on a heavy fighter that's moving very fast towards you. And the last on my list of black market predictions, but certainly not least, is a plane that I know many of you have wanted. It is a jet with a long history of being highly requested from the community, and it would make a fascinating trophy for aviation history buffs. The AV-8B Harrier. Now, the Harrier, also maybe better known as the Harrier jump jet, I would have as a medium fighter in this game. Flight characteristics wise, I would make it almost like walk the line straight down the middle of the Rafale and the J-10. I think it could fill a nice little niche in between those two planes in terms of how it flies. And I have come up not only with a special ability, but also a passive ability for this jet, so I think it'll be kind of obvious. The special ability I'm calling Strike Back. Now, Strike Back automatically would kick off, so to speak, would automatically initiate whenever an enemy jet hits you with a missile. And when you got hit with a missile, a window would open, basically, a 10-second window would open where your missile lock time on that jet drops to 0. Basically, you're able to instantly fire a missile back, and your missile does an extra 15% damage. That would make it a great kind of defensive ability in my mind. On top of that, the passive ability, I would just make the aircraft's hover mode. Basically how it would work is you would hit a certain button for hover mode, and as the aircraft entered hover mode, it would use your afterburner fuel, but only at 50% of the rate that the afterburner does. And then once that fuel drops to below 10%, the aircraft would automatically transfer back into standard flight mode, and there would be basically a 30-second cooldown before you could try to enter hover mode again. On top of that, there would be high risk, though, using it, because you might think, well, I'll just camp points in air sub really easily then. But the trade-off is, just like with some other jets, mainly the 47, the flight control problem when you get hit by missiles. If you were in hover mode, you would also experience that, so it could be very, very dangerous to use. But it's kind of high risk, high reward. In terms of the aircraft's armament, I would give it a great cannon with high armor piercing capability and with the range that the Viggens cannon has. I would also give it 6 manual missiles, and I know what you're thinking, manuals suck. Why? Well, I'm telling you, I would have the 6 manual missiles, but you could have 3 in the air at the same time. And just like the Su-47, after you fired the first one, the second and the third would lock much faster. And so you could spam 3 very quickly. And I would make them identical in terms of damage and speed to the F-106s. And yeah, that's my predictions for the black market. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Please Don't forget to leave a subscribe so you don't miss any of my content. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Drop some comments down below what planes you want to see in the game. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it right with some good ideas of what they should bring in? And, yeah, fly fast, fly hard. And I'll see you guys in the skies next time. Ghostberry TV, signing off.